Hey Virgo, welcome to your mid-May 2021 check-in. So this is a general reading. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind. You may get a little, you may get a lot, but be sure to check your sun, moon, rising, and midheaven. So I went ahead, I pulled a few cards here. We have some oracle, we have some tarot, and then we'll go a little bit deeper with some clarifiers, okay? So we have adaptability, manipulation, and acquisition. And then we also have the Page of Cups reversed, the Chariot card reversed, and the 10 of Cups reversed. Sorry, I had to double check. So it's interesting. I feel in a way that you're being really kind of faced with having to go back to something, maybe going back to your past in some way, which could be where it's like kind of you're alleviating certain blocks here. Now, with Mercury retrograde coming at the end of the month, I believe it's on the 29th, this makes a lot of sense, right? Because sometimes we can't move forward until we revise or refine a few things that we've moved away from, or that, tying up loose ends, I think would be the best way to put it. Let me take a sip of my coffee. I know I got the big jar today. So anywho, let's see. I feel like for some of you, there could be something going on around the full moon in Sagittarius that's actually happening next week. I believe it's next Wednesday. And I'm really drawn to this Chariot card and this manipulation card in terms of what, of that time period, whether it's a few days before, a few days after. And I believe that that's going to be a lunar eclipse too. So what I'm feeling here is I'm also getting like some like Uranian energy. So something to do with like innovation of some kind. Maybe someone has approached you with a way of doing something, of trying something different, right? I feel like it could be a shift in your routine. It could be a new way of doing things, but I feel like it's gonna, in a way, you're gonna feel like it's some type of setback for a minute, because it's so different. And I don't get like any types of feelings that are like bad with this manipulation card. If anything, I feel like, again, this very unexpected energy. And it's like, do I trust this? Do I not trust this? And that's usually the case when we enter something new, right? Or when there is some type of innovation. There are people who are first adopters, and then there are people who wait a little bit for the bugs to kind of get worked out with something. And I feel like it's going to be you perhaps being a first adopter here for just to continue with this, like this metaphor. And I feel like another thing here too is to recognize what you're opening yourself up to by allowing yourself to move differently, right? I feel like it's different than maybe what you've planned for yourself before, like what your plans were. I don't know. I just continue kind of working with these two cards here. All right, just to give you a little more look. So at the bottom of the deck, we have inspiration. Bottom of the deck here, we have the 5 of Pentacles. So there's something here about maybe feeling a lack of motivation. And when something new comes in, it could either be something that's totally exciting or something we have a lot of doubts around. And I feel like there's going to be a period of time where there's a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of doubt, because you may have to do things a new way. Because looking at this adaptability card and this Page of Cups in the reverse, there's a certain amount of rigidity that I'm feeling here due to maybe some recent disappointments, or just the ways that you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling a little bit low right now. And so you're having a serious case of like lizard brain, where you're kind of maybe either really scattered, not able to focus on things, or maybe you're cycling through a certain amount of like worries or trying to problem solve something, kind of like being up against a wall several times. And so when someone offers you this advice, it could just be that you are resistant toward taking it, but you're going to try it anyways. And I feel like it ends up creating a lot of momentum for you the more that you surrender to that position, because I feel like there's part of you, it's like where you're doing something where you're healing kind of inner child or healing some relationships here between this like acquisition and this 10 of Cups card. Because I feel like during Taurus season, there's been a lot of like insecurity about certain things. It's like you've been receiving a lot of things, but it hasn't necessarily been the things that have helped you grow or build anything. It's almost just like if you keep buying knickknacks for a home when you need like a couch instead or something like that. It's like all of these things that are cute, but it's not really supporting you in creating the environment that you, or the experience that you want for yourself. And so it's almost like when maybe someone comes in and is giving you unsolicited advice on how to shift things, how to move differently, and it reminds you of maybe a past experience. And so you're less likely to take it on full force right from the jump, because there's some things that you might have to work through or be able to see differently, just based off of what you know about yourself, right? And what you've been through and what the situation reminds you of. So let's see what else we've got here. So we have the Sun card in the reverse. We have the Page of Swords, and we have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse. And now we have the Five of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So there's something about being resistant to change here, or feeling like change is not something that is available to you, and therefore it makes you less likely to change things, right? Because sometimes what we believe really does affect how we move through the world and how we make decisions, what we decide to action, right, Virgo? And so let's see, and we also have these two pages on the table, which means too, what I'm getting here as well is that there may be two different messages coming in, or two different messages that you're hoping to receive, right? And one of them has something to do perhaps with something that you actually enjoy and something that you've been wanting to action maybe for some time, but the other one is something about like what actually needs to get done. I feel like, right? There's what I want versus what needs to happen. And with the Sun card and this Three of Pentacles here, I'm almost feeling like it's just like still like this holding on to energy due to a lack of confidence. Maybe feeling like you're not yet ready to enter a space and build with someone. Maybe you're going through some type of period where it's like you've got to let certain things go before you feel absolutely available to take whatever this is on. So with that manipulation card too, for some of you, it could be like perhaps you're manipulating the situation to have it fit where you feel more comfortable versus where you actually want to go, I feel. And it's like, it's all about, okay, well, let me go back to my intentions here. I feel like that's what is being kind of called into play here, is like, what are your intentions here, Virgo? Do you want to be comfortable? Is that more practical for you? Or do you actually want to move toward the thing, whatever it is, whatever that thing is? Because I feel like there's a certain amount of insecurity or perhaps missing elements, because maybe you're just not ready for another challenge right now. Maybe you're just not ready to move forward in some regard, because there's some things you, again, have to go back to. And maybe you know that. And maybe that's what's creating the resistance in moving forward. But I feel like for some of you, you're kind of in this like stalemate position. So here we have the Hermit, the Ace of Wands reversed, the Four of Cups reversed. It was funny, I was just thinking about the Four of Cups a little bit earlier. Bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Swords in the reverse. So you're holding back, maybe sharing some of your thoughts, maybe not engaging in a lot of conversations, or maybe not being willing to talk about certain things. I feel like there's a lot of internal processing, but again, making sure you're not feeding that lizard brain. Instead, like you're actually doing or thinking of things that are important for you to consider, that are for you to logically move through. But I feel like with this Hermit and with this Ace of Wands here, I feel like there's still a lot of rumination about how things could have gone differently. Maybe you're upset because you didn't take advantage of some type of opportunity that was presented to you. And then with this four of Cups, it's like you may make a last minute decision to get back on track with it. You may kind of come back and be like, hey, actually, I've changed my mind. So it's a lot of stuff in the mental space, I feel like, kind of wobbling like back and forth between like past, past and like, you know, future, like near future stuff, and just kind of wobbling between the two and trying to, I almost feel like it's just you trying to sort through things. And like, you know, kind of like in the way where you go through your house and you're like, do I still need this? Is this something of sentimental value? Is it sentimental value that adds value to my life? Right. I just feel like there's a lot of things where it's like, you don't really want to navigate certain conversations. Maybe you're someone who doesn't really feel like making plans right now. It's like, it's part of you just wants to be taken care of, I feel like, at this time, Virgo. And that's totally okay. You know, sometimes we need that. Here we have the Three of Wands in the reverse, which I feel like kind of just adds to what I'm saying here. It's like, you don't want to be the one kind of having to push things out. Instead, it's like, you know, I'd really like someone else to take care of this for me. So I feel like being able to ask for help, because we have this Eight of Pentacles, because there are other things that you feel like, and you know that you need, that you could be working on, that you could, you know, take your time to really get into the details of things. And I feel like it has to do maybe with your own mental health to some degree, because then we have the Devil card, which I'm feeling some kind of like dissociative energy here. Really being disconnected from the body, being caught in who we think we are and what we think we deserve here, right? And I feel like it's almost like sitting on the fence of like who you used to be and what everything that used to be, and then trying to decide whether or not you want to move back towards that, or if you're willing to accept who you're becoming in some way, shape, or form. But I feel like with some of it, it's like some of you have to turn away from certain people for a time. I feel like there's a certain amount of not being able to recognize some of those situations that you may go back to. And in a way, it almost helps catapult you forward in this going back. It's almost like I'm getting this like slingshot energy. It's like you pull it back in order to jettison forward, to release things forward. We have the Nine of Cups here at the bottom. So I feel like it's a lot of you just taking care of yourself right now. And just wanting people to kind of cater to you. And I don't mean that in like a mean way, but it's just something